The China Report for Friday, March 15, 2013. Volkswagen increases production in China. Volkswagen said it would boost its production in China by more than 70% by 2018 and develop a budget car for that fast-growing market, part of a concerted push to limit its exposure to crisis-stricken Europe. Europe's largest automaker outlined the stepped-up expansion plans as it cautioned its operating earnings would decline in the first quarter and stagnate in the full year largely because of worsening conditions on its home turf. Volkswagen's robust sales in China and other emerging markets, so far have helped it escape the brunt of Europe's shrinking auto market. But with car sales in Europe near their lowest levels in 2 decades, even Volkswagen, whose empire ranges from Audi to Porsche to Skoda, said the region's woes were taking their toll. Sales of Volkswagen brand cars are down 8% in Europe through the first 2 months of 2013, compared with the year-earlier period. Hedge funds bet on organic farming in China. Food varies from 2 yuan per kilogram to as much as 30 yuan, depending on the variety. At the high end of fruits and vegetables are those identified as organic. Affluent Chinese, alarmed by a slew of food safety problems in recent years, are increasingly willing to spend the premium on what is served for dinner. This demand has fueled the growth of the organic food market. There are several problems with organic foods in China. First, the price. Secondly, many organic foods in China are often fake, and nothing more than mislabeled ordinary foods. China Mobile makes big bet on 4G. China Mobile is plowing almost $7 billion this year into building its new 4th-generation network, as the world's largest telecommunications carrier strives to retain its supremacy atop China's telecom market. The move disclosed Thursday amounts to a signal to handset makers like Apple Incorporated, carriers like Japan's SoftBank Corporation and equipment makers like Sweden's Ericsson, and China's Huawei Technologies Company, that the world's #1 mobile telecom carrier by subscribers is throwing considerable weight behind its push to offer faster data speeds to customers. It could also help bolster the international standard China Mobile is backing as telecom carriers around the world look to adopt 4G technology. China to spend more on domestic security. China has made increasingly bold statements in recent years regarding its territorial disputes with Japan and other Asian nations over the South China Sea. And it seems, by some analysts' measures, that Xi Jinping is trying to develop closer ties with China's military and make sure that the relationship between the Chinese leadership and the military is very, very strong. So by doing it, he's vowed to increase military spending, and he has also been taking a strong lead with the Chinese leadership, who are making very aggressive statements regarding some of these territorial disputes mentioned. So it will be interesting to see if these statements were just strong, bold statements going forward, and if China actually takes real action regarding those disputes. Mark Faber rationalizes the irrational and fears China's colossal credit bubble. Though infamous for his doom and gloom more than boom, Mark Faber explained today how the herd-like behavior in stocks and real estate is actually not totally irrational, as it is merely a reaction to the central banks forcing people not to hold cash and instead but gold watches and cars. His point is that if and when interest rates are ever normalized, everything changes, and not in a good way, as valuations become severely stretched on all these inflated assets. While the world tells us that bonds are unattractive and stocks are attractive, Faber rhetorically asks, who knows, maybe the bonds are telling us something about the future return on equities. He warns of paying too much attention to government headline statistics. What is published does not necessarily reflect the reality, but, just as we have warned, China is his biggest fear for knocking the world exuberance. Whether the Chinese government can ensure continuous growth will depend on reforms and how to deflate the colossal credit bubble. This is going to be a huge problem, because we have so much underground credit, questionable loans outstanding and questionable investments. That's the China Report for today. Zaijian.